Okay. Hi, it's Lauren Abrams. I'm so excited. We're here with Kimmy Seltzer, episode 176. She's wait, I wrote down the title because it's so good. It's such a good episode. I got to listen to it and then listen to it again. And let's see. It's I just love the episode, and it's called Magnetic Confidence. Yeah, the
Ooh.
power of authentic connections in dating and in life, because we talked about way more than just dating. And today we're going to talk about confidence tools that you can use right now, overcoming rejection, finding joy in dating, leveling up your dating skills and your social interactions. And I know Kimmy just came back from one of her amazing retreats. So it's about how you look on the outside and the insides, and giving some body language tips that she did on the episode that I had so much fun learning about, even though I'm definitely not dating. Don't worry, Scott. I think he's joining in a minute. And also how to build authentic connections. Because I think the word authentic is the most researched word this year. I found that to be fascinating.
That is fascinating. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, that's what Webster, according to Webster. So I think there's a little bit of feedback. Do you hear it?
I don't hear it. Do you hear it on my end?
I do. So I don't know if I'm coming through.
You sound good. I don't know. Echo. Am I echoing?
Yeah. So I'm echoing from your end. But do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, so I'm Kimmy Seltzer. Hello, everyone. I'm an authentic dating strategist, a confidence therapist, and an image expert. That's a mouthful to say. That I help people look and feel their best so they attract whatever it is they want. And yeah, I mean, obviously I work with a lot of singles and helping them build that sexy confidence, which is that magnetism, right? And I definitely saw it this weekend at the dating retreat. Oh, it was so beautiful to watch. But really, like, this isn't specific just for singles. Honestly, a lot of times people come to me just to build their confidence overall, because it's a way of life. It's a way of being. And when you have that, you can literally attract whatever it is you want. And that includes love and money, right? So
yeah,
I'm excited for this conversation.
I know. It's so fun. And so you gave a few tips, because really you talk a lot about if you put on something special, and it might be outside, I have a sign, or I did. I'm not in my office is from home now. I used to have a sign, think outside the box. And you talk about in the episode and in your TED Talk about your red dress moment. But it's really when you put on something different and you feel special and you feel different and you feel a different way. And it gives you that kind of confidence. Are there other tips and tools that people can do to give them that kind of confidence? I know before going out in front of a jury, there was a group of us. It was a whole team of women, and we would do this superwoman pose with our hands on the hips, and we would be like, we would do this whole confidence boosting thing before we'd go out every single morning of trial. And I always think about that, like this whole, and it was that whole energy in the room of us, these fierce women, and just like, but also it wasn't like this energy of whoosh, because we want to be authentic and just really be of service to our client too. But it was with our hands on our hips, super women.
Oh, I'm sure you guys looked hot too doing it. Well, and I know that power stance, I mean, that's research based. And I don't know if you saw the TED Talk with Amy Cootie, and she did the superhero pose. Yeah. Well, and that's what's so beautiful about body language, is that there's scientific proof that when you shift your body language and the signals that you send out to the world, it shifts the way that you feel about yourself, and it directly impacts the signals that people receive so that they see you differently, right? So like on your episode, we talked a lot about clothes. We talked a lot about the body signals that you send. We talked a lot about conversation, and those are kind of the three pillars in which I work with people on creating just a great first impression. Because, in building confidence, you ask, like, what are some tools? There's so many, but what I think is really profound is that a lot of times people think of it as a long-term problem. Like, I have to build my confidence overall to get to where I want to go. And of course, obviously we all have those long-term goals, but what I love about working in the first impression stage is that those micro transactions where you get validated, where you feel connected with people, end up kind of building over time that confidence. And quite honestly, you and I talked about this too. Like, there's not a lot of things in life that is instant. Like, these things are instant. Like, when people walk out of the dressing room, they're standing a little taller and there's a little like skip in their step. That matters, like that's an instant change and shift. And because of that, they'll see an instant change and shift in the world and who they interact with. Like when you smile at somebody, it's contagious. I'll tell you a quick story. Like, there was everybody was working on at the retreat this weekend of just smiling and saying hi to everybody and not getting attached to the outcome and not worrying about what's next or who is this person I'm going to talk to, that kind of thing. And there were countless stories. Every morning we would go over wins of the day and everyone's like, Kimmy, I can't believe it. Like, I smiled at this person and they gave me a free coffee, or, like there's these little things. It's like, well, yeah, because no one is doing it anymore. No one's even like connecting with each other. And that's what's so beautiful, is that this all is contagious. And that's why I really love doing more of these kind of group experiences, both online and off, because it rubs off. And so I'd see, besides some of the things that I talked about, I think the biggest thing that's going to help everyone build their confidence is to have a tribe, is to have a community, because it's hard to do this stuff on your own. And in that state of loneliness, that's when you kind of stop. And I don't want anyone to stop. So it starts with your episode, right? Like, maybe there's an inspiration that comes from that, where people take action or bold action that creates that change for them.
Yeah, it's so true. And even the small step creates energy, and that energy, it's all about energy. And I love that about the smile, because then you engage in any kind of small conversation that's authentic, because you're not talking about the weather or traffic. Probably, hopefully not.
Well, if you're going to talk about the weather, back it up with a personal story that has meaning to it. And this is some of the things that we were talking about at the retreat, and I do in my workshops. Actually, I have a flirt workshop coming up, y'all.
And there's a link to all of Kimmy's everything in the show notes. Just go to the episode, all the stuff listed underneath, which I had so much fun writing and doing everything with the show notes. That's all the stuff written underneath when you just click on the episode. So yeah.
No, I'm so excited, because I love just practicing with people. And the thing that we were talking about is that there's a difference when you're having a conversation with somebody where it's just kind of factual, right? Just kind of boring. Like, how's the weather? To your point, like, you've had that conversation a zillion times. It doesn't have any meaning. And you'll probably just pass that person and not even remember that you had that conversation. Yeah. But when you learn some of these tricks and tips and tools around how to create story around some of these facts that actually make you feel connected to that person, honestly, you could get connected with someone within 30 seconds. Like, I know you and I, when we first met, like, it was like the first 30 seconds we were connected.
Well, we were telling stories, but you also just told a story about your retreat and the smiles and how she called and told you that was a story. Like, I'm going to remember your retreat from that, like, mini micro story. Like, it's, it made me happy that she had that experience, even though I don't know her. And I mean, that there was connection, that kind of, those are the authentic connections. And that's the stuff that matters. Anyway, we connect through our stories.
Yeah. Yeah. And that is the authenticity, because to your point, like, a lot of, because I work with both men and women, a lot of guys will come to me and say, hey, Kimmy, can you give me a few lines to say to the women? And my answer is always no. There are no lines. And that's what comes across as not genuine, not authentic, because we've heard these lines, we can smell it. But more importantly, it's not usually connected to what's happening in the moment. So I really try to teach people how to have conversations organically based on what's happening in that moment. And that's what keeps you present.
Okay. So how does somebody listening do that? Because it doesn't have to be someone dating. They go to an event, they're uncomfortable, they don't know anyone, they're a plus one, whatever it is. Especially with there's holiday parties, whatever it is. How do you just start engaging with people?
Well, of course, like we don't have time, and I have this whole social engagement formula that I teach people. But what I will tell you is that in that initiation phase, that's the first phase, it's not about the line or thinking going in what you're going to say. It's using observation and curiosity to help you create that first interaction. So it could be something that you're curious about that person, what they ordered, to eat. It could be about what they're wearing. It doesn't have to be super sexy either, or witty or charming. I think that's another thing, is that people try to think of this like stellar thing to say. And when in doubt, just say hi and smile. Like, honestly, if you just do that, it'll break some of the barriers. So again, going back to the body language stuff, 93% of communication is nonverbal. So it's not even what you say in that first hit that matters. If you have warmth in your body language and a smile even in your eyes, people are going to respond. And you could say that, like, just the dumbest thing and people will still respond. I'll tell you a quick story. There was a person I was coaching, and she, I don't know if I told this in the episode, but it's a cute, funny story that'll get people to maybe listen to your episode. She was so scared to just say hi to a gentleman. And we were sitting at a bar, and she was getting in her head, and she was a high achiever, and she was outcome oriented. I'm like, honestly, the best thing to do is just think about what to say in that moment. And this guy who sits next to her, but this really, really good looking gentleman. So she like turns to me and she's like, "Oh my gosh, Kimmy, there's no way I could say anything." I said, "Well, first of all, you don't necessarily have to say anything. Just like be approachable. That's part of what a woman needs to do, because both men and women have responsibility and approachability. And that's a whole other conversation." But I said to her, "Tell me what's on your mind right now. Like, look around the room and just what's in your head." She's like, "Well, it has nothing to do with the guy." I said, "That's fine. What is it?" And this was here in LA, and she was looking at the window, and the restaurant had kind of this like stained glass that looked like it was raining outside. Well, it's kind of funny because it never rains here in LA, as you know. And so I'm like, "That's a great entry. Like, why don't you say something about that?" She's like, "But that's dumb." I said, "No, that's brilliant. Like, that's just so real and in your moment." So she turned to him and she said that. She's like, "Have you ever noticed that window over there? I thought it was raining." And I said, "That is a weird thing for LA." And he loved it. It just completely broke down that barrier. And he's like, "I've been coming here every week and I never noticed that." And then they were off. They were off to the conversation. So again, when you're using observation, what's great about that is it keeps you present, out of the head, and more like in that moment.
No, that is a perfect example. And you did not talk about that on the episode, because I would have remembered it.
Oh, good. I have so many stories that
I know. Now, you said that to find joy in dating, and that rejection, you did talk about the rejection part. Like, okay, good. I mean, to me, that's like the old adage, it's one, thank you. It took me one closer to the yes, or whatever it is. There's a sales adage about that. I don't know if it's the same in dating, but how do you find the joy in dating?
How do you find joy in dating? I guess, okay, I'm just going to say a very like, maybe like dumb, simple statement is just, is to stop thinking so much and having it be such a chore, because I think a lot of times people compartmentalize their dating life as it's a different part of life. This is what I'm talking to my group about. And what will happen is people will pick up their phone and they'll say, "Okay, now it's time to date." And they start swiping, or, "Okay, now I'm going on a date." But dating is a way of life. And when you start thinking about it holistically as an energy rather than a chore, then it starts becoming fun. Kids are brilliant at this. Like, I love always talking about kids. If you could be a kid on the playground, kids don't like think about play as a chore. Because to me, dating is just like having a play date,
Making new friends. I always
Making
tell,
new
I'm
friends,
like, if
yeah.
it doesn't work out, maybe you're meeting a mate for one of your friends or
Oh,
somebody you
yeah.
know.
And you don't know who that person knows. And it's like, again, tonight is our last class of the dating retreat program because we meet virtually first and then we end with a class. And we're talking about putting together a dating plan, like a business plan. And I have this kind of 3-prong approach and helping them. And one of the things I talk about is building your dating portfolio, like your financial portfolio. You have to be like diversified as much as possible. You can't just compartmentalize or be target specific because that's when the burnout happens. Like if you are all just online and that's the only way that you're dating and you're just doing that, then of course dating is not joyous, and of course you're going to hate dating, because then it becomes too much of that, like, oh, it's something I have to do, versus you go to the grocery store realizing, oh my God, there's lots of men and women here that I can talk to. This is my playground. It's a different mindset. And I kid you not, I just, because I have a WhatsApp channel for my little group, and they're still chatting away and they're like, oh my God, I can't believe like what's happening to me. And like, I'm meeting people left and right and I'm not scared anymore. And they realize that everyone else now needs help.
Yeah, I know.
Right? Like it's
Yeah.
like, well, I can't coach everybody, but like hopefully I can, at least reach more people in your podcast or in some of the virtual programs, right?
Absolutely. The grocery stores it depends. There's certain grocery stores that are better than others.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, yeah. There's this Whole Foods is better than that Whole Foods and all of that, and stay away from that one. And
Yeah. Well, here in Los Angeles, I don't know if you know this, Erewhon was
Erewhon is like,
oh my God, it was well, and I see why. I mean, obviously, there's certain clientele that go in there, but also the aisles are really narrow. So it kind of forces you to like talk to people and you're like, excuse me, pardon me, like there's also something to be said about proximity at which you are like seeing the people. And I talk about this a lot too, is that like if you are somebody who every time you go to a restaurant or a bar or a social event, you're just cackling with your girlfriends in the corner. Well, no guy is going to approach that, right? Or if you're a man and you're the creepy guy just staring at everyone, not launching, or you're hesitating, you're not saying hello, like you're not going to meet anybody. So where you put yourself, where you place yourself is really important. Positioning is a strategy.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. No, that's great. And it's true. Erewhon's aisles are very narrow. Definitely. So this is so great. Let's just talk about image really quick because I don't think we said a whole lot about that. A couple of real quick image tips that maybe you want to give. I know you gave a lot on the episode, but
I was going to say, well, you'll have to listen to the
yes.
episode to learn
And
more.
also I have to, I have to say Kimmy's TEDx talk is really fun. It's fun. It's enjoyable to listen to, and it's her own experience. And it's great. It's her red dress moment, which we do talk about on the episode, but it's a great, and it explains why image is important. And it's what we started this with. It's what you're wearing is important. And she's a trained therapist and started out working on her insides, and the outsides do matter. Like,
well, yeah. And then, when I became a trained image consultant and then I started doing makeovers, I was just kind of seeing the power of dress and wardrobe and how we feel in our body and how people just even judge us and interact with us. It's just huge. And so, like, again, I keep going back to the retreat only because it's fresh in my mind. I literally got back last night. We did a photo shoot and all the ladies got their hair and makeup done and everybody had a virtual makeover with me. So they all came in their new outfits. And it was funny because we've been meeting on Zoom for weeks and everyone was like shocked to see one another like that, and it shifted. They all admitted it. It shifted in the way they saw each other too. And they're like, if I met you in real life, I probably would be attracted to you. Like it was really interesting just how everybody like really saw a different aspect and side of the person. And it's not to say that it's superficial. We talk about this in the episodes about marketing, right? It's an advertisement. And so you could be the best person that you are. But if you're not advertising yourself, then people might be passing you by. And not only that,
Interesting. Yeah.
right? Like when you're in your
Mhm.
body, you're in your costume that makes you just feel amazing, you interact with the world just differently. You stand a little taller, you have a skip in the step. People then see that energy, they react to you differently. It is all intertwined. And that's why I always say there is a symbiotic relationship between the outer and the inner when it comes to confidence. It's not superficial. You have to pay attention to both. And again, it's the quickest gateway into someone's inner confidence when you take care of some of this outside stuff.
Yeah, and because most people think, "Oh, when you meet me in person, you're gonna see my wrinkles, you're gonna see this, you're gonna see that," but it's not necessarily true. Oh, I love this. Yeah, this is really, really good. I love the way that came out. Okay, so you can get to all of Kimmy's links and everything, and the episode. I welcome everybody who's watching on the replay. Be sure to follow both of us. And Kimmy has, you want to talk about what you have coming up?
Oh, yeah. Well, it's coming up very soon, December 12th at 4 p.m. Pacific time. I have a flirt workshop and
Yay.
it's co-ed. It's for all ages. It's super fun. It's interactive. I believe that practice makes perfect. We can sit here and watch a talking head all day long, but it's not until you actually do this stuff is when the magic starts happening. So the first hour is a PowerPoint and discussion, but then if anyone wants to upgrade into the VIP room, that's where the fun begins.
Yeah.
Then we do a little practicing with each other and you'll get a little bit of my laser coaching. So definitely check it out. You can go to stophatingdating.com or check out the links that you see in the show notes.
Yay. Thank you so much. This is so fun.
Oh my gosh. Thank you. Thanks for
Yeah.
having me. Thanks for having the floor because I'm trying to reach as many people as I can. Nobody should find dating like bad or have that taste in their mouth or also just if you've had a pattern of bad relationships and you might be scared and getting yourself out there, you don't even know where to begin or how to, like, start with a workshop or start listening to your podcast, like, and all of this really does matter in those small action steps. And we said this on your episode, add up to the bigger win.
Yeah.